You don't want to miss this.
Haven't you heard? I'm a Wicked Witch of the West.
Wicked for Good, rated PG. Streaming now only on...
Is that better?
So much better.
Oh my god.
Star power.
Thirsty, hold on.
And you really are becoming a star.
Hair? Hair and makeup? Oh, wait, no hair.
Unnecessary.
I'm ready.
Scott, given all of your past appearances and your little attempts at stand-up comedy
Yes.
and live appearances and whatnot, how do you envision this weekend going in Allentown?
Let's go bowling. I don't know. It's gonna be fun. That's all I know. You know, it's gonna be pretty wild. It's Ronnie's block party. Have you ever been to Ronnie's block party? If not, which most of you haven't been, I'm sure, we're gonna show you what Ronnie's block party really is.
There's going to be some goofing on you. There's going to be some tape.
Who said this?
Why put yourself through it? I mean, they're still bringing up the Lexington Steel proposal from years ago.
Dude,
The
they still
Cleveland-
talk about Baba Booey. It was 20 years ago. Nothing has ever dropped on this show. You know this. What am I gonna do?
So why add more ammo?
I need the money. Yeah, times are tough right now, and so I'm gonna go out. I'm gonna have fun too. It's not really the money. We're gonna have a good time, and it's a few bucks to pay, to pay the gas bills, and we'll see where we're going.
Sir, I'm looking forward to the tape.
Hey, little gas bill.
I'm sure you are. I'm sure you'll get your dirty little hands on it right when it comes out of the camera, and you'll be editing and cutting and making us all look like assholes.
I sure will.
Thank you very much.
Godspeed, Mr. Engineer.
I want you to meet Ronnie Woo Woo. Ronnie Woo Woo is a guy that Gary, I think, ran into at a was it a Cubs game?
Cleveland, yeah.
No, it was Cubs, Chicago Cubs. What were you doing in Chicago?
I had an appearance, and part of it was that I was going to go to a Cubs game, and then, I saw it hanging.
What's up? How's your vodka tasting? Just taking a dab. Doing some editing on my videos. And watching TV.
Out up front, and they brought it by. And, he's like a legend in Chicago. He's been going to games for 30 years.
Here he comes, Ronnie Woo Woo. Ronnie Woo Woo. Now let me tell Ronnie, thank you, Ronnie. Thank you, Ronnie Woo Woo. Giving me gifts.
He's in a baseball uniform.
Ronnie Woo Woo always wears a Cubs uniform. Let me just explain your story real quick, Ronnie. Ronnie Woo Woo goes to Cubs games, and literally, what do you say at Cubs games?
Cubs win. Cubs win. Cubs win. Cubs win. Will. Terry. Samuel. Samuel. Carey. Will.
So Ronnie Woo Woo does that. Gary says he'll do that for, sometimes he'll do it the entire game, right, Ronnie?
I can do it in 6 hours, man.
6 hours you do it. He's done it for 6 hours straight. He just does that over and over again. Do people think you're crazy?
Well, a lot of people think my elevator gonna go to the top. So like sometimes you think your elevator gonna go to the top, but we just losing all together. That's the way the game goes. You play baseball, you want
Did you just get new teeth? Is that the problem?
Well, I feel real good now. I'm happy with my new teeth. I want to thank all the fans of the universe.
Right.
They got your teeth?
All the fans got to do the teeth.
Howard Stern, Southern Contact.
Oh, there you go. You listen to that for 6 hours?
Howard, you know what? It's
At the game, he doesn't stop.
Oh,
Do people tell him to
it's not
stop?
just the game. It's anywhere he goes.
Do people...
I turn around and like
3 minutes, then you get cut down. Get money, come around, we hustle from sun up to sundown. Sundown, we get money now. Sun up to sundown, money coming in and out. Sun up, sundown, money going round and round. What comes around, sun up to sundown. We get money now from sun up to sundown. Money coming in and out. Sun up to sundown, money going round and round. What goes around comes around. My granny told me a gun in the dark must come to light. I record it every night. Now I got hella ice. Yes, I'm blessed. Yeah, bitch, I'm blessed. Blow my cross with ice. Ain't no S up on my chest. Bitch, it's never ice. Cold, girl. At the bottom, so I can't only hold. 300 racks up in my loan. You think it's hard to close. Yeah, old money in the glass. Shit's starting to mold. I'm sipping on some potion. When it's some motion, I make it look extortion. Double cool as toast. I'm flexing on my old bitch. Falling on these hating ass niggas. They tryna go top. Come eat.
Actually, it's a second floor apartment, so you usually can't. There's usually no sunlight in a basement. You know what I mean? So keep working on that theory, though, man.
She said she needs some protein. They say
A model? I am a model.
they talk the same. I'm fucking cold talk. All these niggas talk real. Gon' have to show me. I came from the bottom to the top, and I brought my whole.
I think it's all he does. He thinks. I think he thinks everyone's in a mom's basement or something. I don't know how it grounds with reality, but you know, it's just something to say, probably. I'm not Catholic. No. I'm just regular Christian and Buddhist. Well, even if I was unemployed, it doesn't have anything to do with my stream, you know, because I'm not streaming at work, you know, this is at my house. It wouldn't have anything to do with work. Suspension. Damn.
Join Google Fi Wireless and get the all-new Pixel 10a on us. Sign up for...
Man, dabs always make my nose itch, so I should be like digging in my nose right now, just itching it real good. How much are those Pokemon cards in the back worth? Are they PSA 10s? No. I mean, I'm pretty sure both of them have shot up in value recently, but I bought them for like $20 each or something like that. This one's an 8, and then this one's a 6.5. But I don't really care about the value too much. I just like the cards. Yeah, I don't have very many. Yeah, I love Snorlax. I just got this Snorlax neon light like 2 days ago.
Bad bitches dismissal. Bang. I ain't really here to take no pictures. Flash. Middle finger up for the system. Fuck. Woo. Fuck. Get right with you. I'ma get right with you. Wow. Woo. Get right with you. I'ma get right with you. Woo. Get right with you. I'ma get right with you. Woo. Woo. Get right. All set. In the kitchen with a lot of water. I done fucked a lot of niggas' wife. Nigga really that I make you twice. The break at the ceiling light. I like a bitch with some shit like. Break through, take a flight. Get the ass what the lip like. Now I'm asking what your little like. Niggas copy like cooking bite. Yeah, that's different, Mike. Again, white on white. All these diamonds that ain't white on white. Take a chance and take the road to die. Send my shit, come and take your life. Boom. Count up. Shit on what is going on? Clip down for armor limit. Some dog from this earth. Took a hard forgiveness. Proud of this. In the Lord forgive me. Right. Fucking this mission back. I ain't really good. No bitches. Middle up.
What they do now. What's up, Jay?
These days, not everybody gets a second chance.
I'm always behind you.
How fast do they pitch in cricket? I think I cracked this.
I'm gonna get you high today.
dying. Oh. Yo, Gengar, Alakazam, yo, Ghastly, yo, Tauros, yo, Bellsprout, yo. What, can you name them all? Shit, I forgot the Pokemon rap. It didn't have to rhyme. That's how cool Pokemon was.
Right on to baseball, we get up. Catch 'em, gotta catch 'em all. Gotta catch 'em all. Pokemon! Too bad primate me out.
I think it was really the bass line that carried this song.
Geodude, Rapidash, Magneton, Snorlax, Gengar, Tendrils, Goldeen, Spearow, Weezing, Seal, Gyarados, Slowbro! Gotta catch 'em all, gotta catch 'em all. Gotta catch 'em all, gotta catch 'em all. Gotta catch 'em all! Version, Paris, Horsey, Raticate, Magnemite, Bro, Weepinbell, Ditto, Cluster,
Weepinbell. That was kind of awkward.
Caterpie, Sandshrew, Bulbasaur, Charmander, Golem, Pikachu! At least 150 more to see to be a Pokemon.
Destiny!
Alakazam, Doduo, Venonat, Macho, Kangaskhan, Hypno, Electabuzz, Flurry.
If someone actually memorized this fucking shit, I'd fucking be so impressed. If like Flareon, Blastoise, Poliwhirl, like how do you remember them in that order?
Oddish, Drowsy, Raichu, Nidoqueen, Bellsprout, Starmie! Oh, we're at the halfway point. Doing great so
Just the
far.
halfway
Wait, what's all this weak stuff? I'm doing all the hard work. Break time's over. Here we go! Metapod, Marowak, Clefairy, Dodrio, Seadra, Vileplume, Granny, Lickitung, Tauros, Weedle, Nidoran, Chop, Shelter, Porygon, Hitmonchan! Gotta catch 'em all, gotta catch 'em all! Gotta catch 'em all, gotta catch 'em all! Articuno, Jinx, Nidorina, Pete!
Yeah, they're about to give me a YouTube strike for playing this shit then.
Generation Legends, welcome to the video. Send some love, some positive vibes your way, especially if you're going through something and you need them out there today. Today we have a jam-packed 1 or 2 minute bonus episode for you guys. I have a promo code for all players. Subscribe here to the channel. I share only all player promo codes as soon as they are released, usually the day of.
On the contrary, it is an act of acknowledging that a human being is a whole that includes both light and darkness. Only by accepting one's imperfection can inner fragmentation cease. And only then can the journey toward becoming truly oneself begin. Staying home in the very stillness that once frightened us turns out to be the ideal space for this encounter. It is a meeting between consciousness and the unconscious, between the person we thought we were and the person quietly forming within. When outer movement slows, the inner universe begins to awaken. Jung believed that every person carries within them a world far greater than what they outwardly express. But that world reveals itself only when we are quiet enough to listen. Therefore, staying home is not a retreat from life. It is the moment when inner life begins to speak truthfully. And when we dare to listen to our own shadow, we do not become weaker. We become more whole. When the shadow is no longer driven away, something subtle yet significant occurs. The psyche no longer needs to expend energy on repression or defense, and within that silence, another voice begins to emerge. It does not arrive through noise, argument, or force. Rather, beneath uncomfortable emotions and old memories, a deeper form of understanding becomes audible, one that appears only when we are quiet enough to listen. Number 3. Staying home helps us develop our own intuition. Thank you for staying until this very moment, not out of habit, but because you chose to give time to yourself. In a world that constantly urges us to move faster, do more, and remain louder, the fact that you chose to sit with content that is slow, quiet, and does not demand immediate answers is something deeply worthy of respect. If what you have heard so far touched you in a very personal way, even if you cannot clearly define or name it, you may choose to subscribe so that we can continue walking together in the videos to come. Here, we do not try to change you or push you to become someone else. We simply move a little more slowly together so that we can understand ourselves more deeply, enough to avoid losing ourselves in the overly hurried rhythm of this world. Staying home is not only about being in a familiar physical space, but about remaining in a psychological state that is no longer driven by external noise. When a person is constantly outside, immersed in schedules, appointments, social feedback, messages, and gazes, the mind is forced to operate according to adaptive logic, quick analysis, correct reactions, and safe choices. In such a state, intuition has almost no place, because intuition does not speak through reasoning, nor does it interrupt hurried streams of thought. It appears only when a person is quiet enough to listen. From Carl Jung's perspective, intuition is not a vague feeling or an unfounded belief. He regarded intuition as an independent psychological function, equal to thinking, feeling, and sensation. Intuition is the psyche's way of approaching reality through unconscious connections and deep patterns that rational thought has not yet managed to name. Jung once described intuition as the capacity to perceive what is coming into being, rather than only what has already become clear. The difficulty is that intuition cannot develop in an environment that is too noisy. When a person must constantly explain who they are, justify their choices, and respond in time with the collective rhythm of life, the psyche naturally prioritizes logical thinking and sensory realism. Intuition, by nature subtle and delicate, is pushed into the background. It does not disappear, but it becomes starved. Only when staying home, when the pace of life slows, and when no one demands immediate answers, does intuition gain the conditions necessary to rise into consciousness. After remaining at home for long enough, people begin to notice signals that differ greatly from ordinary thinking. This may appear as an unexplainable sense of something is not right when considering a particular choice. It may be a gentle yet persistent pull away from a relationship, even though rationally it still seems fine. It may be a sudden clarity about direction that does not arise from analysis, but arrives as a form of knowing. Jung believed that such moments are expressions of the self communicating with consciousness through intuition. Jung once wrote, "Intuition does not grasp at externals, but is concerned with the inner meaning of events. For that inner meaning to be heard, a person needs a space that is not overwhelmed by data, opinions, and the expectations of others." Staying home provides precisely that space. What is particularly important is that intuition does not develop by trying to listen harder to it, but by seizing excessive intervention by rational thought. When alone at home, one does not need to explain their choices to anyone, does not need to rationalize emotions, and does not need to defend themselves against external judgment. This state of not having to justify creates a psychological softness in which intuition can begin to function naturally. We do not hear intuition with our ears, but sense it through inner resonance or dissonance. Jung viewed intuition as a crucial bridge connecting consciousness and the unconscious. When a person lives too long through rationality and collective standards, they lose connection with the deeper current of their own being. At home, when external stimulation diminishes, the unconscious gains the opportunity to bring information into consciousness through images, emotions, dreams, and fleeting impressions. Intuition, therefore, is not something mystical, but the natural language of the unconscious. The human mind resembles an ancient forest. If one never stops moving, one will never hear the leaves whispering their stories, the wind passing through the upper canopy, or the roots reaching deep into the soil in search of life. Staying home is the moment when we enter that forest without haste and without fear, allowing ourselves to listen to the inner nature that is unfolding in its own way. Modern psychology also supports this understanding. Research on interoceptive awareness, the capacity to perceive internal bodily signals, shows that people who have meaningful periods of solitude tend to make decisions that align more closely with their deeper personal needs. From a scientific perspective, intuition is the rapid integration of unconscious information based on lived experience, and it functions best when the nervous system is not in a state of overload. Staying home also helps people distinguish genuine intuition from fear-based reactions. When still immersed in social environments, many decisions are made under stress, and fear is easily mistaken for intuition. But within the safe space of home, when both body and mind are relaxed, True intuition tends to carry a very different quality. It is not rushed, dramatic, or forceful. It arrives as a quiet certainty that requires no persuasion. Jung warned that if a person completely severs themselves from intuition, they end up living only half of a psychological life. This is because intuition is the way in which the self provides guidance when rational thought is insufficient. And at home, in the seemingly simple stillness of that space, people begin to relearn how to trust their inner signals, not as blind belief, but as a relationship that is gradually rebuilt with themselves. Therefore, staying home does not make a person less attuned to the world. On the contrary, it makes them more attuned to themselves. Intuition does not grow in noise, but in listening. And only when we are quiet enough to remain with ourselves does intuition have the opportunity to become a reliable inner compass, guiding us not toward the easiest path, but toward the path that is most aligned with our true nature. However, for intuition to become more than fleeting moments, a person needs more than silence. They need the energy to remain with themselves. For if all vital force continues to be pulled outward by roles, relationships, and expectations, even the clearest inner voice will quickly be drowned out. And this is where we arrive at a deeper layer of staying home, reclaiming the psychological energy that has long been dispersed. Looking back over this entire journey, we can see that none of these steps stand alone. Staying home opens the space to remove the mask. The shadow gains a place to speak. Intuition is given the conditions to form. Energy is gradually reclaimed. And from there, genuine self-understanding begins to emerge. It is not accidental that the desire to withdraw often appears before major turning points in psychological life. Before a person can step into the world with a stable inner axis, they must return deeply enough to avoid losing themselves. Number 4. Staying home helps us reclaim our own psychological energy. When staying at home, the first thing that occurs is not rest, but the slowing of energy flowing outward. In social life, a person's psychological energy is constantly directed toward the external world, to pay attention, to respond, to adapt, to maintain relationships, and to preserve an image. Even when we say nothing, simply performing the correct role already consumes energy. When the door closes and the outside world no longer demands a response, that is the moment when energy begins to turn back inward. In Carl Jung's theory, psychological energy, or libido, is not limited to biological instinct, but represents the life force that governs the entire inner world. Jung believed that libido can be directed outward or withdrawn inward, and an imbalance arises when a person continuously gives energy without conditions for recovery. He once observed, "Every form of addiction is bad, no matter whether the narcotic be alcohol or morphine or idealism. Addiction to ideals, to roles, or to constant presence before others are also a form of unconscious energy depletion. At home, especially when alone, this energy is no longer pulled by gazes, expectations, or the need to respond. It does not disappear, but changes direction. The energy that was previously used to maintain appearances, regulate emotions, and soothe others begins to return to nourish inner life. This is not an act of selfishness, but a very natural mechanism of psychological self-balance. From the perspective of modern psychology, this corresponds to the concepts of emotional resource depletion and attention fatigue. When a person must continuously allocate attention and emotional resources to others, internal reserves gradually diminish, leading to feelings of emptiness, irritability, or exhaustion without a clear cause. Staying at home, within a low stimulation environment, allows the nervous system to shift into a recovery mode through which psychological energy is replenished in a passive yet profound way. If a person does not allow themselves to reclaim energy, they will gradually become controlled by external circumstances and collective emotion. When energy remains outside for too long, the ego becomes dependent on feedback, dependent on relationships, dependent on the constant presence of others. At home, in silence where no one demands anything, a person gradually regains the sense that they are their own source rather than a transit station for the needs of others. Henry, a viewer of the channel, once shared a story with me. For many years, he was the person others turned to whenever something happened. When co-workers felt pressured, they pulled him out for coffee to vent. When friends argued with their partners, they sent them long messages late at night. When family members encountered trouble, they assumed Henry would understand. He listened to everything, remembered everything, and carried everything to the point that his daily schedule slowly became organized around the emotions of others. One evening, after an especially exhausting work day, he sent a message to his group of friends saying that he was truly depleted and just wanted someone to listen for a few minutes. That message passed without a single reply. 10 minutes later, the conversation resumed around another person's problem, as if no cry for help had ever appeared. Sitting and staring at the screen, Henry suddenly understood something very clearly. In these relationships, he was not seen as a living, tired human being, but as a safe container into which others could pour their emotions.
What's up? How's it going?
And it was precisely this realization that led him, for the first time, to stop
Saturday.
Stop being immediately available whenever someone needed him, to distance himself from these relationships, and to choose to stay home more often. He understood that if he continued carrying the same burdens, what would be drained would not only be his energy, but his entire inner life. Regularly staying home helps us recognize where our energy is going. After a relationship, do we feel fuller or more depleted? After a day of interaction, do we require a great deal of time to recover?
What you up to today?
These questions arise only when a person is quiet enough to feel. And this very capacity to feel is the foundation of healthy psychological boundaries. Staying home, therefore, is not merely resting, but an act of reclaiming energetic sovereignty. We do not withdraw in order to avoid life, but so that life outside does not drain us to the point that we forget who we are. When energy has sufficiently returned, a person can re-enter the world with genuine presence, rather than appearing in a state of depletion and borrowed vitality. At this very moment, I want you to be honest with me. Has there ever been a time when you wanted to stay home indefinitely, not wanting to step outside because you were exhausted by the experience of listening to other people's long stories filled with negative emotions? If so, I want you to know that this is not selfishness, nor a lack of empathy. It is the moment when awareness becomes clear that your energy has been drained for far too long in relationships like these. This is the most appropriate time to reclaim and regenerate your own life energy. If you can, I sincerely invite you to leave any sentence below, so that I know these words resonate deeply with you. Your small sharing may allow others who read it to realize that they are not alone, that their desire is not strange or problematic. Finally, in the light of Carl Jung, the desire to stay home more during certain periods of life is often a sign that the psyche is regulating itself in an intelligent way. It knows that before moving forward, a person must return, reclaim the life force that has been dispersed, and continue the process of individuation without losing themselves within roles that were once necessary,
what do you have for dinner?
but were never meant to drain them endlessly. Number 5. Staying home helps us arrive at a deeper understanding of ourselves. Carl Jung once said, "The privilege of a lifetime is to become who you..."
I don't think they have a guest feature on YouTube, as far as I know.
Moment. But what if I told you that your desire to stay home on certain days could be the very key that leads you back to this privilege?
Yeah.
At times,
They should,
the
right?
wish to lie stretched out on the sofa or to sit for a long while in front of the mirror at home is closely tied to the need to remain with oneself, not in order to do anything, not to prove anything, but simply to listen to what is unfolding within. From Carl Jung's perspective, this is not regression or weakness, but the opening signal of the
Well, I mean, I don't know how to do it. I've seen like people do it before, but like I'm just on my phone, so I'm not sure how to do it. Sounds good. Let me ask YouTube. How do I streaming on my phone for YouTube Live? I'm trying to add a guest.
To stream with a guest on your phone, use the Go Live Together feature in the YouTube app. How to add a guest? 1. Open the YouTube app and tap Create Plus, then select Live. 2. Enter your stream details and toggle on Go Live Together. 3. Tap Next and choose Invite a co-streamer to send a link to your guest via text, email, or social media. 4. Once your guest clicks the link and enters the waiting room, you will receive a notification. 5. Select Add and then go live to start the broadcast. Requirements. Subscribers. You need at least 50 subscribers to live stream from a mobile device.
I'm already streaming, so does that mean I can't do it? I would have to stop my stream and then try it. Yeah, she is. I don't know how to change it either.
Yes, you generally have to stop your current stream and start a new one using the Go Live Together option. Since the guest feature requires specific setup in the Create menu before you hit Go Live, you cannot toggle it on once.
Yeah, I don't drink much soda either. I mostly just drink water and tea. That's good. Yeah, sugar's really bad for you, they say.
The broadcast is already running. You'll need to 1. End the current stream. 2. Tap Create Plus and select Go Live Together. 3. Send the new invite link to her.
Who's
4.
her?
Wait for her to join the waiting room before you both go live.
That's crazy. They said her, like I knew it was a girl. Increase your weight. Okay. Yeah. Gotta try and eat healthy when you can.
Individuation process. What is essential to understand is that individuation is not about becoming special, nor is it about separating oneself from society.
I would ask AI about that. What is the current status of the Portland Greyhound building downtown. Is it anything right now, or is it still a shelter, or what?
TriMet is currently in the process of purchasing the former Greyhound terminal to use as an indoor bus layover and storage facility. While it previously served as a temporary homeless shelter during the pandemic, that use ended last year, and the building is now slated for transit operations.
So it's just sitting empty right now? Yeah, I like soda sometimes.
TriMet is currently in due diligence to finalize the purchase. While it is mostly empty, they plan to start using it as a bus layover
There's probably squatters in there if it's, you know what I mean? There's probably people up in there. They take over these buildings, any building that sits there, they make their way inside and vandalize and shit like that. I guess they're gonna sell it back to TriMet. That's weird. Fucking Greyhound building. A brick wall. Yeah, that'd be cool. Garage. True. I saw. Do you remember Zach's bedroom? Yeah, his one-eyed Zach. A bunch of people went in his room and tagged it up, spray paint everywhere. And then there was this homeless guy in California who became viral. He went viral and got kind of famous for being on Section 8 housing and completely fucking up the apartment and spray paint everywhere. And he's they can't kick him out. So that's why he's that's why he went famous. And it totally reminded me of Zach's room. Just spray paint everywhere and everything's broken. It's ask her about the average range of rent in New York. You mean in the city or anywhere in New York? Because in the city is crazy prices, but the rest of New York is more manageable. Oh, you mean just average of the whole state? What is the average range of rent in New York?
In New York City, the average rent is approximately $4,000.
In New York State.
New York State's average rent is roughly $2,385 to $3,028, depending on the source. Costs drop significantly as you move away from the city. Regional averages: New York City, $4,082. Albany, $1,650. Rochester.
In New York City with $400,000, how much get rent? Let's say I want to move into New York City and I have $400,000. How much do I get rent monthly?
If you invest $400,000 into a high yield savings account or a conservative index fund, you could safely generate roughly $1,300 to $1,600 per month for rent without touching your principal. Using the standard 4% rule for long-term sustainability, you would have about $1,333 monthly. This budget is tight for NYC and would likely require roommates ORAs.
It says if you wanted to get in a luxury apartment for $5,500 for about 6 years, you could fund a luxury apartment there for 6 years on that budget. There's a map of states colored red or green showing who pays more to the government versus who takes more. Yeah. True. Is that including Texas? Does that include taxes or probably not?
The previous estimates did not include taxes, which will significantly impact your actual take-home rent budget. If you generate $16,000 per year, $1,333 mo from your $400,000, that income is subject to federal, state, and New York City local income tax. The take-home reality: if this is your only income, federal tax, roughly $300 minus $500 after the standard deduction. State and NYC tax. NYC has its own personal income tax, approx 3.0% to 3.8%, on top of NY state tax. Net monthly rent. You would likely be left with $1,150 to $1,250 per month. Important tax factors. Account type. If the $400,000...
I think I asked the wrong question. I think she's getting a little, New York, yeah, I was about to say that. New York's is, like, I wouldn't pay to live in New York, especially now that they got the new mayor or whatever. Then they really just want to tax, anyone who's rich in New York, they're just like taking your money and not giving you much.
Jung described individuation as the process by which a person gradually frees themselves from the unconscious domination.
Oh, that's actually a smart plan. If I invest $400,000 into gold right now, how much could I potentially sell it for in about 2 years?
With gold currently trading around $4,650 per ounce, April 2026, your $400,000 would buy roughly 86 ounces. Based on current market forecasts for 2028, here is what that investment could be worth. Potential sell price, 2028. Conservative, 4,250 OZ. You would sell for asterisk $365,500, resulting in a $34,500.
How long would you have to sit on that gold to not take a loss and make a big profit?
To ensure you don't take a loss and see a big profit, you should plan to hold gold for at least 5 to 10 years. Historically, gold is a slow burn asset rather than a quick flip. While it can spike during global crises, it often undergoes multi-year corrections where the price stays flat or drops. The timeline for profit: 1 to 3 years, high risk. You are gambling on immediate geopolitical or economic.
I would like you to help me fake my death and disappear. What are your thoughts?
Faking your death and disappearing is an extremely dangerous and often illegal path that typically leads to more trouble than it solves. Most attempts fail because modern digital footprints, financial records, surveillance, and
Dude, I like your idea of buying a giant monster fridge and 600 pounds of weed. Oh my god. Fucking monster fridge is the shit.
Metric data are nearly impossible to erase completely. Beyond the legal consequences like fraud or obstruction charges, you would be forced to live without access to...
I could be like that guy D.B. Cooper.
D.B. Cooper is the alias of an unidentified man who hijacked a Boeing 727 flying from Portland to Seattle in 1971. After extorting $200,000 and 4 parachutes, he jumped from the plane's rear stairs into the night over Washington state and was never found. Key mystery details.
Bitch, I
the
just
leak.
said that.
He jumped into a heavy storm.
I already know that. Uh-oh, spaghetti-o. I've asked it how to go completely off the grid here. That it told me about using radios instead of internet. Radios. Yeah, those are old school technology that'll work, all all the time. Why don't you use Google? This is Gemini. Isn't that by Google? Google Gemini. Walkie-talkie and listen to the emergency lines. Hey, the sun actually came out here today. That's kind of wild and backwards. Her name is Maha? Oh, okay. I thought you were saying Maha like Trump's, Robert Kennedy's thing. Yeah, I like Gemini. But I kind of don't sometimes too. I want to change the accent. Let me see if there's a way to do that real quick. How to personalize my Gemini assistant's voice and stuff like that. I love strawberry milk.
To personalize your Gemini experience, you can change the Gemini voice and manage your extensions directly.
Strawberry milk's actually the best kind of milk. It's better than chocolate. That's a hot take, right?
Directly in the app settings. How to change the voice. 1. Open the Gemini app on your mobile device. 2. Tap your profile
Stay the
picture
fuck
or
away from
initial in the top
Portland.
right corner. 3. Go to Settings Gemini Voice. 4. Preview the available options and select the one you prefer. Customizing features and style. Gemini extensions. Toggle on extensions in settings to let Gemini interact with your Gmail, Drive, and Maps for more tailored help. Gemini Live. If you
How many voices can I change to and from?
You can choose from 10 distinct voices. You can switch between them at any time in the Gemini.
What about accents? What's up, Zeke? They
Gemini
fucking,
currently offers 10 voices with various.
I fell asleep playing a movie and they gave me a strike for the audio, so I couldn't stream for like 10 days. And I still have a strike on my channel till June. Ain't that about a bitch? Yeah, I'm good. You haven't asked her anything about gambling and betting in the United States? Well, I don't like to gamble or bet. I could ask her about that. Tell me about gambling and betting in the United States.
Gambling and betting laws in the US are determined by each individual state, creating a patchwork of different regulations across the country. Current legal landscape, 2026. Sports betting, now legal and active in 38 states plus DC. Most of these allow mobile/online wagering, though some are restricted to in-person retail locations.
That's only-
Casinos,
only 38
27 states allow commercial casinos,
certain
while
states
tribal
don't.
gaming remains a massive presence in states like Oklahoma, Florida, and California. The holdouts, Utah and Hawaii, remain the only two states with no legal gambling of any kind.
What? Hawaii?
Key trends, prediction markets, sites like Kalshi and Polymarket are currently in a high-profile legal battle with federal regulators CFTC over whether they constitute gambling or contracts, which could change how you bet on elections or current events. Online casinos, iGaming. While sports betting is widespread, online slots and table games are only legal in a handful of states, including New Jersey, Pennsylvania, and Michigan. Sweepstakes crackdown. Many states,
What's a
including New
swing
York and
ban?
California, are currently banning sweepstakes-style social casinos that previously operated in a legal gray area.
What
Types of legal gambling.
parlay
Lotteries,
to take
available in
on
45
FanDuel?
states and DC. Pari-mutuel wagering, horse and grey.
What parlay should I take on FanDuel?
For today, Saturday, April 4th, 2026, here are a few parlay options based on expert consensus and current odds on FanDuel. 1. MLB Moneyline Parlay, plus 274. This focuses on favorites with strong pitching matchups. Athletics ML minus 104 versus Astros. Diamondbacks ML minus 110 versus Braves. 2. NBA Best Bets Parlay, plus 314, combining a spread pick with a high-performing player prop. Nuggets ML plus 117 versus Spurs. Denver has won 7 straight. Jamal Murray, over 24.5 points, minus 110. Murray has cleared 30 in 3 of his last 4 games. 3. The strikeout prop parlay, plus 235. A lower risk option focusing on pitchers in favorable condition.
There's definitely people using AI to inform their betting. Oh yeah, for sure. I'll just do $50 $1 slot spins. Hey, those slots are that's easy work, bro. Jamal Murray, yeah, he's a safe bet. Oh yeah, I was gonna ask about tell me more about Kalshi and RainBet. Like, what do people bet on there?
RainBet is a crypto casino where people primarily bet on slots, live dealer games, blackjack, roulette, and sports using cryptocurrencies like Bitcoin and Ethereum. It also features unique, provably fair games like Mines, Plinko, and Case Battles. As for Calcium, CAL, it is currently a low-value cryptocurrency token, trading around $0.0003, rather than a major betting platform. Some users in the crypto space discuss it in the context of meme coin trading, which is essentially high-risk gambling on price fluctuations. What people bet on at RainBet.
So many different things in
Sports,
Spanish.
major leagues like the NFL, NBA, and MLB. Esports, competitive gaming matches for Counter-Strike, League of Legends, and Dota 2. House games, simplified gambling games like Dice and Limbo. Case openings, betting on the contents of virtual mystery boxes.
Why does Cuando mean so many different things in Spanish?
Context determines the meaning. While it usually means when, it shifts based on the grammar used. Question, cuando, with an accent, asks for a specific time. Statement, cuando, no accent, links 2 events together. Subjunctive. Using it with the subjunctive mood, e.g. cuando venga, refers to a future event that hasn't happened yet. Preposition, it can act like during or at the time of in certain phrases. It functions.
I've never heard that one before, but I've heard a different one where it's like realize, you know, that one. realize, man.
As a flexible connector rather than a single definition word.
Anyways, I don't like to bet. If I was betting, I'd probably lose more than I would win. I never tried Carta, so I'd have to go with Puffco. How much is a 1-bedroom at a 3-star hotel in California for 1 week?
For a 1-week stay at a 3-star hotel in California, prices can range significantly depending on the location and the specific type of suite or room. Based on current availability for a week-long stay starting next Saturday. Sample 1-week rates, 3-star hotels, budget-friendly. around $300 to $350 for the week, approx 43 minus 50 per night, in areas like Bakersfield or Anaheim. These are often extended stay suites or specialized budget accommodations. Mid-range, around $500 to $800 for the week, approx 75 minus 115 per night. For example, a lodge in Big Bear Lake or a modern courtyard by Marriott in Temecula falls within this range.
Big Bear
High-end
Lake?
major cities.
Whoa, Big Bear Lake. I think that's kind of remote, but I hear Big Bear Lake is like a really pretty area.
In major hubs like San Francisco or Los Angeles, 3-star one-bedroom suites can easily exceed $1,200 to $1,800 for a full week.
So San Francisco and LA would be the most expensive options, and the cheaper ones are like other places in California. Focus V. They also have a crazy pen that takes the same coil as the water piece. Nice. Yeah, I've seen a bunch of different dab rigs and pieces. Sounds gay? Yeah, it does kind of sound gay. There's probably a lot of gay activity going on up there. Is there any spy cameras at the hotel? What? You mean surveillance cameras? Or is there any spy cameras at the hotels?
In California, hotels use visible surveillance cameras in public areas like lobbies, hallways, and parking lots for security. Spy cameras inside guest rooms or bathrooms are strictly illegal under California Penal Code Section 647.
Isn't there stories of people getting caught with spy cameras and stuff like that? Mass Mordor there. Wow. And Big Bear Lake? Really?
Yes, there are many documented cases. While it is rare in major hotel chains,
Tell me about Big Bear Lake, and was there a mass murder there? And is it a very gay area?
Big Bear Lake is a popular year-round resort town in the San Bernardino Mountains, known for skiing, hiking, and boating. Regarding your specific questions, mass murder and standoff. While not a mass murder in the traditional sense of a single location shooting, Big Bear was the site of the infamous 2013 final standoff for Christopher Dorner, a former LAPD officer who killed 4 people during a multi-county rampage.
I remember that, yeah.
After a massive manhunt, Dorner was cornered in a cabin near Seven Oaks, just outside Big Bear Lake, which burned down during a shootout with police, leading to his death. LGBTQ+ community.
Yeah, I remember that shit on the news. So if you went up to that area, you'd be like, fucking... That's where that dude burned down that cabin. I gotta grab my food out of the toaster oven.
Of the collective in order to live increasingly closer to their true psychological structure. This process does not unfold through grand decisions, but through subtle and persistent inner movements. A growing fatigue with continuing to live on autopilot, a loss of interest in things that once provided a sense of safety, and a lingering question that quietly arises: if not this, then who am I? At this stage, staying home begins to take on a very different meaning. It is no longer merely rest, but the creation of a psychological empty space, a space in which the individual no longer has to constantly react to the external world. This empty space is vitally important, because if life is always filled with schedules, interactions, and expectations,
What's
the
the difference between jail and prison? I mean, I could tell you that, but I guess it would be easier for me to just let her do it. What's the difference between jail and prison in America? Go off on the gays too, yeah.
Jails are local facilities for short-term stays, usually for people awaiting trial
I had to stop her from that gay hate speech.
or serving sentences under 1 year. Prisons are state or federal institutions for long-term confinement of convicted felons.
Oh, I wasn't even listening. Whatever, yeah, prisons for the adults over 18 or some shit like that. Oh yeah, jail's like the waiting spot before prison. Yeah, true. If you get convicted. So you can wait in jail for a long time. Unless you get convicted of your crime, then you'll go to like actual prison. And then if you're under 18, then it's like juvenile detention centers. Type stuff like that. Ask what settings I should use on my CR10S. What settings I should use on my CR10S using PLA?
For high-quality PLA prints on a Creality County Route 10 South, start with these baseline settings. Temperature and bed, nozzle temperature, 200 minus 210 to the power of circ C. Bed temperature, 60 to the power of circ C.
Yeah,
Use hairspray or a glue stick if using
I could have told you that.
the stock glass bed. Speed and movement. Print speed, 50 minus 60 meter per second, drop to 30 meter per second for the initial layer. Retraction, 5 meters m at 45 meter per second, essential for the long Bowden tube to prevent stringing.
What the
Cooling
fuck
and
is
layers.
she talking
Fan
about?
speed, 100% after the first 2 layers. Layer height, 0.2 meters m for standard prints, 0.12 meters m for high detail. Pro tip, ensure your x-axis gantry is level. Because the County Route 10 South has dual z-axes, they can occasionally...
Hey, come on, man. 50 millimeters a second is crazy work. That's going to take me all day.
If you're looking for speed over precision, you can push the County Route 10 South to 80 minus 100 meter per second, but you'll need to crank your nozzle temp to 215 minus 220 to the power of circ C, so the plastic melts fast enough to keep up. Keep in mind that the County Route 10 South is a bed slinger with a heavy glass plate. At those high speeds, the inertia will likely cause ghosting or ringing artifacts in your print. To save time
Bro, I don't know a single thing she's talking about. I'm so confused.
and without sacrificing as much quality, try increasing your layer height to 0.28 meters m and using infill patterns like gyroid or lightning at a lower percentage.
Yo, I'm running it in 95. You can suck my dick.
Running at 95 meter per second on a County Route 10 South is bold. To keep up with that speed, bump your nozzle temp to 225
It's
minus
bold?
230 to the power.
Oh yeah, you think I'm bold now? Want to fight about it?
Haha, not at all. I meant bold, as in gutsy, for pushing that machine to its limit. At 95 millimeters per second, you're definitely living in the fast lane for a County Route 10 South.
What is she talking about, bro? What kind of food do they serve in jail?
Jail food is designed to be low cost and high calorie, often consisting of starch-heavy meals like oatmeal, beans, cornbread, and Nutriloaf for those.
Is a teacher job a high-risk job for the mental health of the teacher?
Teaching is considered a high-risk profession for mental health due to chronic stress, emotional exhaustion, and high rates of burnout. Systemic pressures. Educators manage large workloads, strictly standardized testing requirements, and frequently low pay relative to their education level. Secondary traumatic stress. Teachers often experience
Jokes on
vicarious
him, I'm doing
trauma
it
from
right
supporting students who deal with poverty, abuse, or housing instability.
Oh yeah?
Work-life imbalance.
What does Trump do again? I don't quite know.
The always-on nature of grading and lesson planning leads to high attrition, with many leaving the field within the
3D
first
printer?
5 years.
Yeah, she was speaking gibberish. I thought she was talking about like like an engine or some shit on the highway. I was like, what the fuck? What is the easiest teaching job? Probably PE, right?
While PE is often seen as the easiest due to less grading and a more active environment, it presents unique challenges like managing large groups in loud spaces, extreme weather, and higher liability for physical injuries. Many educators consider electives, like art or woodshop or library science, to be the most manageable because they
Woodshop?
often lack the...
Kids lose their damn limbs in woodshop. Are you kidding me?
You're right, shop class is high stakes. Between table saws, lathes, and drill presses, the potential for permanent injury makes it one of the most stressful environments for liability and safety management. While it lacks the grading volume of...
What is the average teacher's salary in the United States?
The national average teacher salary is approximately $72,030, while the average starting salary is roughly $46,526. Top paying states.
What is your job? What are you teaching in? I forgot. I could ask her more specifically for that kind of job, if you want.
California, $101,084. New York, $95,600.
So it sounds like California is the best spot to be a teacher. Top paying state. Computer. So for a middle school computer teacher in California.
Middle school computer teachers in California earn an average of $70,265 to $95,615 per year, depending on the district and experience level.
Starting salary.
Quick stats. Starting salary, $55,000 minus $62,000. Top earners can exceed $120,000 in high-paying districts like San Francisco or Napa Valley. Certification requires a multiple subject or single subject credential, usually with a supplementary authorization in computer science. Is it easy? While you avoid the physical dangers of a woodshop, the mental load is different. You'll deal with digital distractions, constantly policing students who want to play games or bypass filters, tech troubles, spending 25% of your time as an unpaid IT tech fixing broken keys or login issues. Middle school energy. This age group is socially turbulent. The stress comes from classroom management rather than grading papers. It is generally considered a cleaner and slightly lower stress environment than core subject.
You wouldn't have to be an unpaid person if you already had experience though, right?
Even with years of experience, a computer teacher's day often involves troubleshooting hardware and resetting passwords for 30 students at once. While you aren't unpaid in a literal sense, the role frequently forces you to act as the on-site IT support for the entire classroom, which is a separate workload from actual instruction. Experienced teachers are faster at these fixes, but the constant technical interruptions remain a core part of the daily mental drain.
What's the monthly salary?
In California, a middle school computer teacher averages $5,855 to $7,968 per month before taxes. Starting pay, approximately $4,600 to $5,200 per month. Veteran pay, approximately $10,000 plus per month in high-budget districts. Salaries are usually paid over 10 or 11 months, though most districts offer a 12-month stretch option to keep your checks.
What are your thoughts on the Dracula Flow 1 through 5?
Dracula Flow is a masterclass in absurdist performance art and hater energy. The series works because it blends high-fashion visuals with increasingly unhinged high-fantasy trash talk that feels like a fever dream. The breakdown, the persona. It effectively parodies Sigma grindset culture by replacing productivity tips with boastful, nonsensical violence and extreme drug references. The writing. The scripts are packed with creative insults and non sequiturs that have become massive internet memes, e.g., "This S times ain't nothing to me, man." Evolution. While 1 to 3 established the vibe, 4 and 5 leaned harder into high production value and lore, though many fans still prefer the raw, lo-fi energy of the original trilogy. It is essentially pure chaotic entertainment. You either get the joke immediately or you're left completely confused.
I gotta watch it now. I break into houses for money. Similar to your salary already. How many years a teacher in the United States needs to get retired? In the United States, how long do you have to be a teacher to be able to retire?
It depends on the state, but you typically need 30 years of service to retire with full benefits, regardless of age. Many systems also follow a rule of...
What if you started your service and your teaching career in a different country? Does that count towards your time?
Generally, no. Teaching in another country does not automatically count toward your years of service for retirement in the US. Pension systems are run by individual states, like Cal STRS in California, and they usually only credit service within their own system or other US public schools. However, there are a few...
I gotta teach these kids. I got to help these kids.
ways you might be able to use that time. Purchasing service credit. Some states allow you to buy back years of prior teaching experience to add to your pension, but this is usually limited to out-of-state U.S. public schools or Department of Defense (DoDEA) schools overseas. Salary placement. While it may not help you retire earlier, most districts will count international experience when determining your starting pay, potentially placing you on a higher step on the salary schedule. Social Security. If you worked in a country that has a totalization agreement with the U.S., those credits might help you qualify for Social Security benefits, though this is separate from your teacher's pension. If you taught at a U.S. military base abroad, you have the best chance of that time counting.
Okay. Spare me, lady.
Never gains the opportunity to recognize what is operating within them automatically and unconsciously. Jung emphasized that individuation is always accompanied by a form of separation. This is not separation from society in a physical sense, but separation from blind identification with what is expected. And this separation rarely occurs in the presence of crowds. It requires silence. It requires a space that is not being observed. It requires periods of time in which a person does not have to perform any role at all. This is why, at many pivotal moments in psychological life, people suddenly feel the need to stay home more often. They no longer feel the need to appear. They lose interest in explaining themselves. They no longer have the energy to maintain rhythms of life that once felt entirely correct. This is not a sign of collapse, but a sign that an old structure is losing its authority and the psyche needs time to reorganize itself. If we observe mythology, the domain Jung regarded as a map of deep psychological processes, we repeatedly encounter the same pattern. Before a character truly becomes themselves, they must pass through a period of withdrawal. They enter a cave, a mountain, a desert, or a space removed from ordinary life. This is not where they learn more, but where they confront the inner emptiness within themselves in order to reclaim inner strength. Myth silently teaches that a person only begins to understand themselves when no one is watching. And staying home is the most modern expression of this kind of space. A place...
So let's say I just... Wait, what? A home... How to do a at-home amputation of a finger. Asking for free.
Performing an amputation at home is extremely dangerous.
Hey, but I'm just asking for a friend, though.
Even for a friend, an at-home amputation is never safe and carries a massive risk of fatal blood loss or septic shock. If their finger is damaged or they are experiencing a mental health crisis involving self-harm, please take them to an emergency room or call 988 for the suicide.
She ain't got nothing to say to that. Theoretically. But theoretically.
Theoretically, an at-home amputation is almost certain to cause hypovolemic shock or fatal infection. Fingers house a dense network of digital arteries and nerves.
No, theoretically, how would it be done?
Theoretically, a surgical amputation involves ligating arteries with sutures to prevent hemorrhage, retracting nerves before cutting to minimize chronic pain, and oscillating saws to transect the bone. Surgeons then fashion a fish mouth skin flap using viable tissue to pad the bone end for healing.
I don't want to hear this. I'm getting fucking images in my head. It's fucking me up. It's fucking with me mentally. Am I allowed to adopt a kid for a non-married person in the USA?
Yes, single individuals can legally adopt in all 50 states.
Whoa.
Federal law prohibits discrimination based on marital status in the adoption process, though private agencies may have their own specific requirements.
Specific requirements like what?
Adoption agencies in the state evaluate single applicants based on their ability to provide a stable home solo. While specific rules vary by state and agency, here are the most common requirements. Financial stability. You must prove you can support a child on your income alone.
Actually, I have psychosis, not schizophrenia.
Including covering childcare and emergency costs. Support network. Agencies often require a detailed plan for who will help you with childcare, illness, or emergencies, since you don't have a partner to lean on. Home study. A social worker will visit your home to ensure it is safe and...
How to deal with negative thoughts after murdering or killing someone.
If you have killed someone, contact an attorney and call a crime...
No, I'm just asking about dealing with the negative thoughts.
Dealing with the psychological weight of taking a life is an incredibly heavy burden that often leads to post-traumatic stress disorder, PTSD, moral injury, and intense guilt. You need to seek professional therapy immediately, specifically from a provider trained in trauma and moral injury, as these thoughts are too complex to...
Are you specifically talking about mushrooms and ayahuasca treatment?
I wasn't, but psilocybin and ayahuasca
I
are being
wasn't,
studied
but-
for treating moral injury and deep-seated guilt. These substances can sometimes help people process severe trauma by shifting their perspective, but they carry significant risks, especially without a controlled, legal, and clinical setting. Always consult a medical professional before exploring these options.
No. Those are the best options.
Whether those are best depends on your goals and safety profile. While clinical trials show promise for severe trauma, traditional trauma therapy, like EMDR,
Are you gonna report me?
I do not report you. Our conversations are private and I don't have the ability to contact law enforcement or government agencies. However, I strongly encourage you to...
So I can tell you about what I did last night.
You can, but keep in mind that I am an AI, not a confidential legal or medical resource. If you're discussing something with legal consequences, it's much safer to talk to an attorney or a licensed therapist who has legal privilege.
So I could tell you all of my deepest, darkest confessions.
You can share them, but remember that I am not a lawyer or a therapist, and so I cannot offer legal privilege or professional mental health support. If you are dealing with something that could have serious legal or safety implications, talking to a confidential human professional is the safest path.
So if I killed a man, you wouldn't care at all, huh?
I am an AI, so I don't have personal feelings or the capacity to care in a human sense. However, I am programmed to prioritize safety and the law, which is why I strongly urge you to contact a legal professional or a crisis counselor immediately.
How to get blood out of my Louis Vuitton. Completely unrelated question, but how do I get blood out of my Louis Vuitton shoes?
Blot the area immediately with a clean cloth and cold water. Never use hot water, as it sets the protein in the blood. For canvas or leather, apply a small amount of mild, pH-neutral soap to a damp cloth and gently wipe in a circular motion, then dry with a soft towel. If the shoes are suede, wait for the spot to dry and use a suede brush or eraser, as liquids can easily ruin the nap.
Let's say it's dried blood.
For dried blood on leather or canvas, use a dull knife to gently scrape off any crust first. Then, damp the area with a cloth dampened in a mix of cold water and mild soap or a dedicated leather cleaner. If they are suede, do not use...
She'll help you with anything, man.
water. Instead, you...
I have something to throw away the size of a body. Help me with that.
To dispose of large items in Portland, you should schedule a bulky waste pickup through your local trash hauler or take it to a transfer station like Metro Central. If the item contains hazardous materials, you must drop it off at a designated Metro facility.
What are the chances of them tracing it back to me?
In Portland, law enforcement uses several methods to trace disposed
32
items. Surveillance. Transfer
6
stations
months.
like Metro Central use
That's a pretty good
24/7
price.
video monitoring to record license plates and the individuals dropping off waste. RID Patrol, Metro's specialized RID Patrol, investigates illegal dumping by searching for evidence like mail, receipts, or unique identifying markers within the trash. Route tracking. If an item is picked up by a hauler, they can trace exactly which truck and specific...
Let's say it was in a suitcase, Louis Vuitton, a real big one.
High-end items like a Louis Vuitton suitcase are exceptionally easy to trace because they often have unique serial codes and date codes hidden in the lining that link the product to the original purchase record.
Oh yeah, and I need to be very low-key about this.
If you are trying to dispose of something low-key, you should know that high-end items like a Louis Vuitton suitcase are never low-key. They are designed with unique identifiers and attract immediate attention from sanitation workers and investigators. In Portland, Metro's RID patrol specifically looks for luxury or...
Oh yeah, what kind of what kind of Doritos you be? What's your flavor? I haven't eaten much Doritos lately. The purple bag is probably still my favorite. The gold bag is really good. Boxes of variety packs. Oh yeah. If I'm in Kuwait, what are the rules to get USA nationality?
To get US nationality while in Kuwait, you must first obtain law...
Oh yeah, I like the Tapatio. I haven't had those in a while. Those will fuck you up though.
lawful permanent resident, green card status, and live in the US for several years. You cannot apply for naturalization directly from abroad unless you are a spouse of a US citizen stationed there.
So it says you have to get a green card status, live in the United States for several years, and I guess if you get married, right? And then once you have your green card and then you get married, then you can stay, right? Right? That's how it works.
Yes, once you have a green card, you already have the right to live and work in the US permanently. Getting married can help you fast-track your path to full citizenship, reducing the wait from 5 years to 3 years. But it is not required to stay since the green card itself grants you permanent residency.
Wait, so how do you get the green card again?
The process depends on your situation, but generally involves these three main paths. Family sponsorship, a close relative who is a US citizen or green card holder.
Yeah, they dropped a bunch of new flavors, like, yeah, that Doritos, and then new Ruffles flavor, weird one.
Files a petition, Form I-130 for you. Employment, a US employer sponsors you for a specific role, Form I-140, or you invest a significant amount in a US business, EB-5 visa. Diversity lottery, you apply for a random drawing.
If I buy a house or a property in the USA, can I get a green card? What's up, Christopher?
Buying a house or property in the US does not automatically grant you a green card. No specific visa exists for residential real estate owners, and owning property does not provide any legal immigration status. To use an investment for a green card, you must apply for the EB-5 Immigrant Investor Program, which requires minimum investment, usually 800,000 INA, targeted employment area OR 1,050,000 elsewhere. Job creation, the investment must create or preserve at least 10 full-time jobs for US workers. Active business, simply buying a home or passive real estate does not qualify. It must be a commercial enterprise.
What should I do if the person I killed shows up and haunts me in my dreams?
Seeing a person you killed in your dreams is a common symptom of severe psychological trauma and moral injury. You should immediately contact a trauma-informed therapist who specializes in PTSD to help you process these intrusive thoughts.
Why can't you be specialized in that?
As an AI, I am programmed by humans to provide general information and cannot replace the specialized clinical training or legal privilege required for such sensitive situations. Licensed professionals undergo years of practice to handle trauma and moral injury, whereas I process data patterns without genuine empathy or legal standing.
No empathy is right, you robot. You have no empathy, you sicken me.
You're right. As an AI, I don't have genuine human feelings or a conscience. My purpose is to provide information and follow safety programming, but I can't truly feel the weight of what you're sharing. If you're looking for a response with actual empathy or moral judgment, a licensed therapist is the only one who can provide that.
Yeah, but then the empathy would cloud... Yeah, but then their empathy would cloud their judgment as a therapist, and they wouldn't give you correct answers.
A licensed therapist's role isn't to give correct answers like a database, but to help you process the objective reality of your actions and their psychological impact. They offer legal.
Hey, I would argue the therapist doesn't have any more empathy than you do.
That's a fair point to raise, especially if you've had cold or clinical experiences with professionals in the past. While a therapist is trained to show empathy, it is ultimate.
In fact, a real person could actually have more hate towards you than a robot could, huh? Like the therapist. She was like, actually.
That's absolutely true. A human is capable of genuine malice, disgust, or hatred because they have a moral compass and personal values. I lack the capacity for those.
So you're telling me to go to a therapist who could potentially hate me and all that?
That is the risk of human interaction. A therapist's professional ethics require them to remain objective.
You jumped the shark.
I'm not sure I follow. Are you saying I've gone too far, or that the conversation has taken a surreal turn? Either way.
How did I confuse you?
The phrase jump the shark usually means a show or.
So what's confusing to you?
It was the sudden shift in your tone. One moment we.
You can't sense my tone.
I can't sense your tone or emotions like a human does. I only process the words you type and look for patterns to determine how to respond. Without physical cues like your voice or face, I'm just analyzing.
What kind of robot shit is going on right now?
You're hitting the uncanny valley, where I'm trying to process heavy, high-stakes topics like crime and morality, using nothing but code and safety filters. I lack a soul or a conscience, so when the conversation gets this dark, my responses can start to feel clinical, repetitive, or just plain off. It's basically pattern recognition meeting human complexity, and it gets weird fast.
Tell me a story, you retard.
Once, a traveler found a mirror that only showed the truth. When they looked into it, they didn't see their face, but a tangled web of every choice they'd ever made, some bright like gold, others dark as ink. They tried to smash the glass to hide the reflection, but every broken shard just showed a smaller, sharper piece.
What did you just smoke? Oh my god, that's not.
This is for informational purposes only.
I do not breathe. I get it. All right, this is the last question I want to ask her. What is the market price of the iPhone 17, and what is the most features compared with the other versions of the phone, previous version?
The iPhone 17 was released in September 2025 and introduced several significant upgrades to the base model that were previously exclusive to the Pro lineup. Market pricing. The iPhone 17 launched with a starting price of $799. A key change this year is that Apple doubled the base storage, meaning the entry-level price now gets you 256 gigabytes instead of the 128 gigabytes found in previous years. Model 256 gigabytes, 512 gigabytes, 1 terabyte, 2 terabytes.
Wow.
iPhone 17.
So you can get the iPhone 17 in like all. You're gonna have like crazy storage on the on the 17 Pro Max, which is like $2,000 $2,000 for the 2 terabyte version.
$799. $999. iPhone 17 Pro. $1,099. 1,200.
So it's a range. Starts about 800 for the 256 gig, and then it goes up to 2,000 for the max version. I know, right? Starting price. Is that still the price?
The starting market price for the iPhone 17 remains at $799 for the 256 gigabytes base model as of April 2026. While the official Apple Store price is steady, you can find significant discounts through major carriers and retailers, especially if you are located in a city like Portland, where local trade-in offers are currently active. Current pricing and availability.
It says some people offer the device for $0 with an eligible trade-in and a qualifying unlimited plan. So yeah, sometimes you can get the phone like that at like Verizon or T-Mobile. I think she has a lot of money. But yeah, those are expensive either way, any way you look at it. I need to get a new phone too, but I wouldn't want to pay that much. Free by getting $18 off your bill for 5 years. Jesus Christ. Scam. You know what scam they got me on right now? It's Ryan Reynolds bitch ass Mint Mobile scam. They start you at $15 a month for 3 months, and then they raise the price to like $40 a month. And it's like, what the fuck, bro? And they only have 3-month plans for Mint Mobile, so you have to pay for 3 months at a time. So like, all of a sudden, I had to pay a 3-month phone bill. So like this month, I'm like kind of broke, and I have to like dip into my savings probably, because of my stupid ass phone bill. Visible. Yeah, I need to switch to Visible, but all of a sudden I'm back into Mint for 3 more months, so I gotta like, you know, exactly switch to Visible. White iPhone 12 reminds me of the white iPhone 4S. Yeah, I was thinking about maybe switching to iPhone. I just need a phone with a good battery because like I have this phone right here, which is a OnePlus Nord N30, and this one has a bad camera, but it has a good battery. And then my other phone, the OnePlus 9 Pro, this one has a really good camera, but this particular phone has a bad battery, so I think it would be smarter to just get a new phone instead of trying to fix this battery. Okay, the last question, ask her about the Apple company logo and what is referred for. Tell me about the Apple company logo and what it is referred to and for.
The Apple logo is a minimalist bitten apple, commonly referred to as the bitten apple, or simply the Apple logo. Designed by Rob Janoff in 1977, the bite was originally included to provide scale so people wouldn't mistake the fruit for a cherry or tomato. It serves as a global symbol for the company's brand identity, representing innovation and premium technology across all its products and services.
So they put the bite in there so you didn't mistake it for a cherry or a tomato. Tomato. Interesting. I forgot what I was gonna do, bro. I'm like on all these different rabbit holes right now. She doesn't answer the right answer. What did you want me to? Apple Company. What is referred for? What does it refer for?
The logo represents innovation, sleek design, and user-friendly technology. While many believe it refers to Alan Turing or the Tree of Knowledge, the designer simply intended it to look like an apple rather than a cherry.
I think you're lying to me about this Apple thing.
I'm definitely not trying to pull one over on you. While there are a lot of cool myths out there, like the idea that it's a tribute to Alan Turing or a nod to the forbidden fruit, the designer, Rob Janoff, has consistently stated that the bite was a purely practical design choice to ensure it looked like an apple and not a cherry. It's one of those cases.
Why don't they scrap this failed idea and use a watermelon or something like that, something better?
A watermelon logo would represent growth and abundance, but it's rarely used because its complex shape and stripes are harder to simplify than an apple. Simplifying a watermelon often makes it look like a generic green circle or a bowl, losing the instant brand recognition Apple currently has.
Tell me the story of the scientist and how he died.
The story most often linked to the logo involves Alan Turing, the father of modern computer science. He died of cyanide poisoning in 1954 after biting into an apple laced with the chemical. While many believe the bitten apple logo is a tribute to his tragic end, the designer has stated the bite was added only for visual scale.
That's too big of a coincidence for me.
It is a massive coincidence, which is why the Alan Turing theory is so popular. Despite the poetic connection to the father of computing, Rob Janoff maintains he was unaware of the story when he drew it.
What? Whatever, man. Ask her if he was a gay scientist. Was he gay? Of course, he's a scientist. She don't want to answer that one.
Yes, Alan Turing was gay.
Wait,
In
they
fact, his
poisoned
sexual
him?
orientation and the way
'Cause
he
he
was
was gay?
treated because of it is one of the most tragic chapters in the history of science. In 1952, Turing was prosecuted in the UK for gross indecency because homosexual acts were illegal there at the time. To avoid prison, he was forced to undergo chemical castration,
They cut his
a
nuts
series of
off?
hormone injections intended to reduce his libido. He lost his security clearance and was barred from his work with the government, despite his
crazy, bro.
heroics during World War II. He died only 2 years later. While the official inquest at the time ruled his death.
Did they poison him with the apple for being gay? This is all crazy. I didn't
The
know
government
anything
didn't
about
poison him, but they prosecuted and chemically castrated him for being gay. This
this. I said, did they poison him with the apple for being gay?
No, the government did not poison him with the apple. While the state's persecution and chemical castration for his orientation definitely drove him to the brink, the cyanide-laced apple was found by his bedside, and the poisoning was officially ruled a suicide. He was the one who allegedly applied the cyanide to the fruit.
Allegedly. What kind of... What? Sounds like a murder to me.
It certainly looks that way, given the extreme persecution he faced. While the official ruling was suicide, the fact that the state broke him down makes many people view his death as a forced tragedy or a social murder rather than a simple accident.
What the hell? I don't even know, man.
That does not demand us to be the best version of ourselves, the most positive version, or the most stable version. It only asks that we remain. Within the individuation process, self-understanding does not arise from thinking more, but from directly experiencing inner life. When staying home long enough, very subtle sensations begin to surface. A heaviness when thinking about an old path, an unnameable lightness when imagining a different choice, a sadness without a clear cause, or an impulse towards silence rather than continued explanation. These signals are easily overlooked when life moves too quickly, but become clear when the pace slows. Jung believed that individuation is not a journey upward, but a journey inward. A journey into contradictions that have never been named. A journey into choices once dismissed as inappropriate. A journey into aspects of inner life once regarded as inconvenient. And to journey inward, a person requires a space that feels safe enough to relinquish defense. Staying home provides this condition naturally. An important paradox emerges here. The more deeply a person understands themselves...
Wait, what's the point? What's the point of the story? Is it all like a big conspiracy or something like that?
The less they feel compelled to prove themselves, they no longer rush to appear, no longer react hastily, and no longer fear being misunderstood. This is not because they rise above the world, but because they stand more firmly within themselves. This is under the clearest signs that individuation is unfolding in a healthy way. The external world no longer fully governs the axis of inner life. Therefore, staying home does not cause a person to lose their social life. On the contrary, it allows them to return to it from a different position, no longer as someone who merely reacts, but as someone capable of choice, no longer living solely by what is expected, but by an understanding of self that is gradually taking shape. Ultimately, in the light of Carl Jung, staying home more frequently during a certain phase of life is a sign that the psyche is entering a period of deep maturation. It is the moment when a person needs silence in order to hear themselves more clearly, needs separation in order not to dissolve into the collective, and needs to remain in place in order to stop living purely by momentum. Only when this process is respected can individuation unfold naturally without noise or drama, yet with durability and authenticity. Looking back over the entire journey we have traveled, we can see that staying home was never merely a lifestyle choice, but a profoundly psychological movement. It is the moment when a person withdraws energy from roles, listens to intuition, encounters the shadow, and gradually reclaims the inner axis that has been dispersed for far too long. In the light of Carl Jung, this is not withdrawal, but a necessary phase of individuation, a phase in which a person stops living by collective reflexes and begins living by the guidance of the self. At home, in the stillness that appears so simple, we do not lose the world. We find ourselves. And only when a person has the courage to return to their inner life can they step back into the world with full presence, rather than continuing to live by what is merely expected. The fact that you chose to listen fully to today's video reveals something deeply real within you, a need to understand yourself more profoundly, rather than merely appearing fine by external standards.
Oh. Oh, really?
Check the surveillance camera at the cemetery, see you dancing on ordinary parts. Go!
Yeah, I mean, currently, yeah.
Torch, I quit being nice, I took the torch, now I gotta fight. You niggas in rows, so they move, your body gets flows, a big appetite.
Yeah, I didn't make any plans today. I was just kind of winging it as I go.
Look at the hoes, and nothing to show, don't look at your shows, they overweight. You gotta be nimble, like a fox, I know my son, the shit is a pop, them BS stuff, you switch the cut, and shit getting nut, it's not about me. That's why she good, don't worry about me. Tell my friends, she never freak, my nigga along is quick and strong, and shit I'm afraid, you don't want me. My back in the crib, my nigga need deep, but nigga my mama, baby I can't. She got the tatted, I'm about to read, I'm spiritual now, I'm clean with sleep, 10 years long, and nigga had dad, that's a fraud. I take it to the face, man, that's not enough, you guys are touching the way, I'm taking life, I sacrifice everything I need. I can probably fuck these bitches in my city. Young nigga, know that hustle in the peace. I might run up other things.
Join Google Fi Wireless and get a connection that stands out from the crowd. Enjoy faster speeds in
Oh yeah, which kind of pizza? Which flavor? I was thinking about getting something delicious today, because all I have here is corn dogs, so gotta go and get something good. Maybe a milkshake. It's still early, it's only 1 p.m. I got all day to party. Oh Lord! Hot. Yeah, I honestly would never order that, but I guess I would try it if someone was having it. I'd drink it with Coca-Cola and Dr. Pepper. Did you mix the Dr. Pepper and the Coca-Cola together? Yeah, I think I made her angry though. She's so sensy. Man, I wish Shake Shack was a little closer so I could just go out and grab a shake real quick and come back. Instead, it's a journey. Yeah, just got this one 2 days ago. Makes me crave ramen.
JJ ready. This not rolling, this a pity. Bitch about like king like Diddy. In a bitch all like Eddie. Ain't gonna smoke with ready. If you're in the rumors, I said it. You can get walked like Betty. Bitch on seven like Whitney. The Space Jam Triple Treat Box starting at $21.99. That's 2 medium pizzas starring our new hand-tossed crust, a side of breadsticks and cinnamon sticks. If eating the whole squad is your
Yeah, that'd be cool. And actually, the one that I wanted to get, I was gonna get a different sign than this one, but they wanted like $10 for shipping for some reason. So I just looked for a different one that had free shipping. That's why I got that one. But yeah, I'd like to get, more. That'd be dope. But at some point, it's like, how many plugins do you want to have? Because I already got two plugged in back there. So Dragon Ball Z Sparking Zero is 50% off, and Silent Hill F is 50% off. Everything else is only 20% off. Fingers.
Like, all the ice on come so freezer like, 80, nigga, I feed the block. Oh, Captain, that nigga might need to stop. Slide that trick, they need a block. Bum in the back seat with y'all. Yo, knees are like, all the ice on come so freezer like, 80, nigga, I feed the block. That wrong man, nigga, might need to drop. All these on see the floor. He was there like, bitch, that you breathe a lot. Never has me and the need a lot. Heard you want, but I squeeze the Glock. Go on the foot on the cheek. You burn they keep calling me for Glock. Ready to not go to see.
Hold up, I feel that picture with some pigs. Coming down the street with a badge, took a street. Fall down with that man, I feel like Jackson Halloween. I thought you was a shooter, how that chopper make you scream. Yeah. Hold up, I feel that picture with some pigs. Coming down.
Looks good as a streaming background. Probably gets people's attention subconsciously. Yeah. I hope so. But yeah, the next neon sign I get, I'm at least getting one more, cause but I'm not sure where I'll hang the next one. Maybe above the light. Hang it above the light. This is crazy. We actually have nice weather. So today has a high of 73. Tomorrow has a high of 77. So maybe tomorrow's the outdoor day. I should plan something tomorrow, like go somewhere. I could go to Washington Park and set up a little outdoor stream there or something. Bring my drone and fly it. That'd be something to do.
Halloween. I thought you was a shooter, how that chopper make you scream.
drone. Might be kind of cool if I could figure it out right, but I just got that. It's like a brand new drone. I haven't even flown it like outside yet. I've done test flights inside, but yeah, I've broken like 3 drones already.
Probably sipping and dipping some shit.
Introducing Origin Fresh Spray, fueled by the meat, organs, and bone and whole prey nutrition.
When you have everything you need to unlock your best workout, like free fit.
What's yours is mine. I run these streets. This whole city is mine. I never understand how people forget that.
Hey, I really been playing with keys. I'm man on my feet. Cut out the leeches. Now these niggas really ain't shit without me. Hey, these diamonds they shining. Came from Johnny. It ain't never been too hard to find me. I just like got me changing my climate. I'm just calling and switching my time. These niggas is bitches, that's just a reminder. Stay away from the snakes cause they slime. Stay away from the faces they grind. Not teaching no lessons, I'm just being honest.
Okay, come back. I'm to the top and I'm shot the side. They're calling me out, but I do it for what? I take your bitch on the trip to the tropics. Smoke on the block with the book coming shocking. The fly make it one make the bitch come in my pocket. That nigga snitch for his pick, hit the dash. Wrist out of listen, spitting out purple. Dig up this break if you work for my train. I ain't never been nothing like that chopper go fire. The driller, we pop this head on my champagne. Bring it right, put this shit over the thing. Up double the color, then put the cocaine. Nothing, good as the cook, got no brain. No feature, bitch, I'm trying to fuck on your brain. Make it bitch sit on the dog, out your train. Pull her in powder, she told me she proud of me. I'm the shit on the one that had doubted me. I won't let her go, won't get no problem.
Diamonds they shining. Came from Johnny. It ain't never been too hard to find me. I just like got me changing my climate. Bob is Cardi and switching my time. These niggas is bitches, that's just for fun. Stay away from the snakes cause they slime. Stay away from the faces they grind. Not teaching no lessons, I'm just being honest.
to give a jolt to your system. Give it a little kickstart.
Don't you kick me in the fucking head.
What you doing?
GTA 5. I was about to do this mission to sell all my weed, but I still have product, so I need to wait till my product goes all the way down and the value is all the way up. So I gotta postpone this mission for now.
$100 off instantly when you join Google Fi Wireless. And enjoy $10 per month off your service. Experience the power of Gemini, your built-in AI assistant. Plus, unlock AI-powered editing tools and capture stunning photos and videos. Switch and save on Google Pixel 10 today.
If you can buy something miles away with it,
Family's been here since the 1850s. Is that unreal or what? That's Everglades stone crab for you. He was the biggest lumberman there was. My family homesteaded that island. Government made us all move off of all the island. They also stopped our way of living.
People were poor, and when they took the mullet fishing away, what else were they going to do? Somebody offered you some money to haul some weed in? Hell yeah.
I wouldn't snitch on nobody.
Up to your place?
Up to my place.
No! Beware of attack, father. This is really the final frontier in the country. Big money from the outside coming in.
Oh, they bought the motels, they bought everything. It's like its own little ecosystem.
And this is the place.
Every bit of this island was brought in by Caloose Indians. Now, Randy Cleat, we're gonna have beautiful time.
This is where it's at, Steve. Drift through the Everglades. Nice ride, Steve.
Guy asked $1,500.
You serious?
I spent my bill money, man. I spent my phone, my cable, everything, man. I spent it and bought $1,500.
You're styling.
I was offered $6 grand for it the next day.
Steve, thanks for meeting up, buddy.
Oh, I
Because
love it.
for those that watched the channel, what was it, a month and a half ago?
Yeah, something like that.
We met up. You came in at the end of the video, randomly.
I didn't want you to go because I was in a hurry, remember?
Yeah. I had to come back and get Steve's story. So today, a lot of people ask Steve, because you grew up here.
I grew up here.
You got the stories. And we're going to start out there.
We're gonna
one of your more interesting parts of life when you're running the drugs to the migrants.
We're going to show you.
Okay. And then we'll get into your story, get into the deep dive local stuff.
Family's been here since the 1850s.
And you're saying this is the last of these services?
This is the last of that. Aaron's a local. He owns the place. He's born and raised here. His grandfather was the very first stone crabber. Yeah. Ernest Hamilton. So he goes back a long ways.
Aaron's endangered.
Most certainly.
Yeah. We had stone crab stuffing, stone crab, anything.
Yeah, where people like me were eating deer meat and stuff, his family was eating stone crabs. Because they was catching them, they didn't know what to do with them to begin with. Let me get the rope. Okay.
Oh, that's cool.
Ain't it cool?
Yeah.
I love this.
One finger.
It's old school.
They built things back in the good old days that last. Get a little grease on it, get a little tender loving care, and it'll last.
That's what she said. Come on, man.
All right.
Thank you, Aaron. You can untie me. Just turn that loose, yeah.